Hello?
Hi.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
We can.
Okay.
Awesome.
Good morning.
Oh,
I
Gabriel.
can't hear you. So maybe it's my thing.
Welcome, everybody. I see, yes, Ruben, Mike, Derek, and Zarina. Welcome. Vina, Martina, and Freddie, and the Doodles. Ivan's coming in. Excellent. Welcome to the April 10th 10 gathering. Love the background, Ivan. Great.
Hello.
Good to see you. The sun's coming out to join us. We just got back from Vermont last night and flew into some heavy weather. We're getting a lot of wind, a lot of rain down here. A lot of things blowing around.
We had a full day. We woke up in Vermont, and then Gabriel's son, who has his driver's permit, drove us all the way to Syracuse, which is about 4 hours and 15 minutes. And he did all the right things. He had the map downloaded on his phone because the service and cell service is hit or miss. But we missed one turn, and I said, oh, it's fine. And we ended up taking the most beautiful scenic route to get to Syracuse. On his phone, he had the setting where no tolls or expressways. So we went up mountains, down mountains, saw just beautiful landscape. It was a really good ride and a nice end to our week.
Adirondacks tour. Yeah. Wonderful. I see Amy has joined us there. Hey. We have Javen. Julio. Yes. Great. All right. I don't think I left anybody in the lobby so far. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. Well, as we are waiting for anyone else to, come in or join, why don't we just open up and have a round robin of any sharing, poetry, artwork, just updates. And why don't we start with Julio, if you are have anything you want to share today, or you?
Hi, Aaron. Yeah, I'd like to give you guys an update on the next Terasem colloquium. Can I share my screen here? I have not done that from the iPad.
Yes. It should be available to you.
It should be. Just let me look for it. Chat, apps, manage settings. No, I don't think I can screen share from here. So I'll ask you if you can go to my website, turinchurch.com, and just open the very first post and share the screen.
I am navigating.
In the meantime, I'll continue to maybe in background and effects. No.
Here we go. Are you seeing that now?
Yeah, just click the first one. Okay. See, I think everyone can see that. So as usual, the first Terasem colloquium of 2023, it's Space Days colloquium, will take place on July 20 from 10 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. That's the usual time. And again, July 20 is the anniversary of the first human landing on the moon. Let's hope to celebrate the next human landing on the moon in a few years. The theme of this year's colloquium is long-term perspective on human space expansion, intersection of human space expansion with highly imaginative, far-out concepts in science, philosophy, and politics. I'm going to go through the speakers later. We have scientists, polymaths, and two very well-known transhumanist philosophers, with a contribution from the science fiction worlds, provided by two representatives, actually managers, of the Orion's Arm Universe project. For those who are not familiar with it, I recommend following this project because it's really awesome. It's a collaborative project to imagine plausible interstellar futures. And it has really produced a really spectacular science fiction universe, which is very much in line with our own thoughts and very much in line with the theme of the colloquium. So again, July 20. Can you scroll? Okay, please. This is the artwork that I have put together, a nice background image. Okay, I assume Max Moore doesn't need no introductions for anyone. So let's go to Tom. Tom Bell was actually the co-founder with Max of Extropy magazine, which was, I believe, the very first publication dedicated to the kind of things that we are interested in back in the 90s. For those who have never seen the Extropy magazine, of which 17 issues were printed, it was mostly before the internet, I maintain a repository on GitHub with all the old issues of Extropy magazine. Let's move to Clement.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I actually met Tom Bell in Tahiti on a trip with the Blue Frontiers project.
Yeah,
yeah, it was very interesting because I've known Max for so long, and then I ended up running into Tom in with a total different project.
He's a great guy. I think he is going to focus not on science, not on very long-term philosophy. Well, knowing Tom, we can expect anything from him. He is mostly going to focus on political systems that could emerge and establish themselves once humanity goes interplanetary and then interstellar. This Clément Vidal is a very interesting guy. He's a philosopher. Is associated to John Smart. They run this Evo Devo universe community dedicated to philosophical speculations on life, the universe, and everything. Clément is the author of The Beginning and the End, The Meaning of Life in a Cosmological Perspective, which is a book that I very warmly recommend to anyone who is interested in these things. This guy here, Chris Mason, is not is perhaps not very well known, but he's a geneticist, computational biology, and a professor of these things at Weill Cornell Medicine. It's interesting that he has written this book called The Next 500 Years, Engineering Life to Reach New Worlds. In the book, he argues that humanity will remake itself with synthetic biology and genetic engineering and ascend to the stars to, and here I'm quoting from the book, engineer at a genetic, cellular, planetary, and interstellar scale, and eventually re-engineer the universe itself to ensure that life continues to thrive indefinitely. He says that this is our duty to the universe and to life itself, which, by the way, is what Frank White says. And if you go to my website, twinchurch.com, you find the audio and video recording of a very interesting interview I made to Frank, published today, about all these things. And let's finish with the two representatives of the Orion's Arm project, Todd Dreschner and Trond Nilsson. For those who don't know it, Orion's Arm is really spectacular. orionsarm.com. Visit the website. They have built a universe which seems more real than real. We are likely to invite one more speaker. We have already 6, which is the usual number. But first, there is always the chance that one speaker withdraws, so it's good to have one more speaker. And second, we might ask the 2 representatives of Orion's Arm, Todd and Trond, to just share one half-an-hour slot. So this is it for the time being, but just stay tuned. I'm going to start advertising the colloquium in the next few days, and I look forward to seeing everyone there. For the second Terasem colloquium of the year, I'll just say that it will take place on December 14 instead of December 10, like last year, to avoid the conflicts with this gathering. And after 3 colloquia dedicated to space, we are thinking in December to go back to the other historic theme of Terasem colloquium, which is things like the nature of consciousness. How should we do to preserve consciousness for people, for everyone, and this kind of stuff. So that's it. I do look forward to see all you guys in July and December. Now, let me also say, and then I'll shut up, that I have just watched on HBO a very interesting 20 minutes thing called 2001 Sparks in the Dark. It is an animated version of an interview with Stanley Kubrick of 1968. They published on Playboy magazine a few months before the film was aired for the first time. And the interview is absolutely fantastic. It's also available in Kindle book. And the director has done a very good job using animation to, very well done animation to represent Stanley Kubrick and the interviewer. And scenes from the film actually recommended 2001 Sparks in the Dark.
Sparks in the Dark?
Sparks in the Dark. 2001, and is it on HBO. If you Google it, the first thing you find is the IMDb link. Okay, you can stop screen sharing today.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Giulio.
Thank you for listening.
Yes. Are you hearing this now?
Yes, I am.
This is Michael Perry's composition. That was beautiful. Oh, wow. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mike,
it was great. It was really
excellent.
great.
You want to give us a little background on the composition of that?
All right, there's not a whole lot to say, really. A lot of it I did several years ago, and I've been doing music by computer for quite a few years. And I started out with it seems to me the first computer I did any music or tried to do music with was something called a VIC-20. If anybody can remember back that far, it could produce some tones anyway, and it went from there. And so over the years, I've done a bunch of compositions, and I've got a work called Opus 1 that's about an hour and 15 minutes long altogether. And I'm trying to do an Opus 2, and what you just heard would be a portion of one of the movements of that. So anyway, I keep doing stuff. And when I heard Gabriel, when I heard you say one of the recent meetings, did anybody else have any stuff they wanted to present after Martine had done a flute composition of hers? I thought, well, I could place something here, but maybe I should work on it a little more. So that's pretty much how this portion. It's a prelude to a longer work. There's more to it than what you heard, but anyway, so that's where.
Yeah, it was great. Very lovely. I like really, some music today is a lot of music today has gotten just too uniform. And it's just the same repetition through the song. But this has climaxes and valleys, and it's almost as if you can tell a story that that there's something, like a whole thing going on there. So I like that. I like it. It's very
it does avoid repetition. I can remember many years ago, I was in college, and I had this humanities course, and we were studying a certain work by a certain composer, and our instructor was saying, now look how long he goes before he starts repeating himself. And that sort of triggered something in my mind. I thought, well, what if you just had non-repetitive music altogether? It would be kind of like reading a story, because you don't just repeat a chunk of text word for word. You don't repeat 500 words or anything. So yeah, my music is like that too.
Yes. Wonderful.
One thing, Gabriel, in the meantime, I have found out how to share the screen from the iPhone or the iPad. And I was stupid because it's right in front of my eyes. If you don't mind, I will just share my screen to practice for next time. So I have
please go ahead.
Share content button. That's beautiful. I can choose screen, and I can choose a window, and it doesn't work.
And while Julie is mentioning that,
and
anytime anyone does have anything to share, feel free. We encourage the sharing. If you feel better, or please send it to me in advance, and I can try to share it as well. It may be easier, but we really do welcome all the beautiful contributions from creations. Like Derek's Boodle People back there, and the Terasem plaque, Jen's mug and her stained glass, Mike's beautiful contributions, Julio's amazing work with Touring Church and the colloquiums, Ruben's Garden, which I'm excited to see come back, and so much more. Any luck there?
So there is no, I found out that yes, I can share the screen from the iPad, but it's a very useless feature because I can only share this screen, which is what everyone is looking at. Yes. So for sharing screen, the best thing is to use a Mac, or just ask Gabriel to share it on our behalf. It's a really useless feature.
Yeah.
Or maybe, well, I'll do some experimenting.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so it's very difficult, I find. I mean, even here, a lot of times I'll lose, the screen. It's hard to see everybody else and share the content through there. But, again, you can send it to me, and we do make it available that anybody can share their screen and share local content as well. All right, so any other creations to show? Ruben, yes.
Hello, good morning. Well, I also will try to share a screen, but just in case I can't, I am sharing a link in the chat. So if I can share a screen, Gabriel can show that page. Let me see. I think I can't. So please, Gabriel, can you show that?
Yeah, let me bring it up first and then share. Yep.
Yeah. Well, this is a page that I am in. It is in construction. It will be activated on 27th of April. I can see that from Gabriel's computer, it is automatically translated in English. The original page is in Spanish. And the idea of this page is to make people in Spanish language to know about mind files. So you can see it has a menu of the homepage, a social network. Yes, please. That functions something like Facebook, and you can sync up and make a post and comment on the post. Then we have a groups place for members and the groups. For example, if you enter the transhumanism group, you will find that are the members. You will find some videos that I am sharing in activity. Please, yes, they are activity. Yes. And for example, BBC's note about the Google engineer that had that feelings of Lambda was sentient, and that kind of stuff. Those videos generally are spoken in English. So if you visit the page, we can see them, and with they are with subtitles in Spanish. And there are another group of movies and series where I share a preview of Transcendence, a movie I like a lot. And well, a blog where I write once a week, and people can make comments. All right, it is in construction and still is not active. The last page that says Mindfile, I have to work on that. That page of Mindfile will be private for each user to do a very simple beginning to make a Mindfile. And if we will go back to start, yeah, down on the left, I say, for example, why do I need a Mindfile to do an introduction? And well, in the Mindfile page, when it will be ready, people will can write daily what he want and upload photos and the result of personality tests and so on. This is for people in Spanish language to know about mindfulness and to make them know Terasem, also make them know Life Now for a more sophisticated way of doing a mindful. And will be linked with the book I am publishing next month about your right to have work in the year 2130, that we will link it with this page. So I encourage you, if you want to visit the page and to register, you can register with not necessarily your real name. You can use a nickname, and the email you use to register is private, no one can see it. And that will help to give the page some movement until the moment that it is fully functioning at the end of this month. Thank you.
That was amazing. Yeah, absolutely. You know,
Thank you.
tremendous work. You know, everybody's just it's amazing, the individual you know, participations, contributions that everyone has been making, and I'm just super excited to see that. You know, we need to jump into the readings here, but again, just you know, top notch you know, participations from everybody. I love to see that. Javen, yes, I see your hand.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. I just had a quick announcement. I wanted to just sort of give everyone a heads up that we're working with, well, my new company, Orbita, is a spin out of our medical device companies, and we work with humanoid robotics and have worked with Bina 48 and Hanson, as some of you know. But we're working with a group called Charity Brands right now. You can find them charitybrands.com. They've raised over $12 billion in charitable funding. They work for the big organizations, and they always need a good cause, so we've hit it off quite well with our medical work. But they're contracted with a group called TDGA Holdings, which is a media company that wants to be a leader in space media. And then also in marketing consumer products, but they want to be like the Disney of space. So they have a reality TV show called Space Hero, and they've let me see, the media company's got kind of like $100 million market cap. I think they raised another round. They put about, I think it's like $7.5 million into securing the rights with SpaceX as a launch partner. And the whole theme of the reality show is to create these space villages and film the process of vetting a citizen, who could be anybody who applies, to spend 10 days on the International Space Station. So they've got, you know, so SpaceX is a launch partner. Elon Musk is looking at this and giving it the thumbs up. He really likes it. They're also partnered with Axiom Space, which is the big player, kind of like another emerging SpaceX out of Texas. And Axiom is building the new space station. So they're really game on. They also took over all the spacesuit development for NASA. So those two launch partners are involved, and I have a relationship with Charity Brands and Space Hero to suggest content for them. So since it's going to be like an ongoing reality TV show to start with, I thought, my God, what better content than to turn them on to you guys, because people don't really know too much about Terasem. You're not like way out there in the public media. So I thought I'd just bring this up at the meeting to give everyone a chance to kind of grok this a little bit and think about like some of the great work, like what Julio is doing, and, you know, all of you guys are doing. If there's some some bite-sized things that we could put into episodic format. I can bring them forward for these guys to look at. And then it also stokes the money raising side, which is a big part of it. So I'm all integrated with those guys. So if you want, I can put, let me see, I put the links, let me grab, I'm not going to do a big screen share so you can get on with everything, but I'm just going to put a little thing in chat that's got the TGA holdings and then you can find Space Hero and check it out. But they're cool people. I really like them. The money comes from I guess TGA Holdings is started from a couple guys from India who are living in Indonesia, but they're partnered with people in the UK. It's a very international thing. I think part of the flavor of the whole thing would be to getting participation from the Pacific Rim, Africa as well, and places other than the US where you don't think of a lot of space stuff. So anyway, if you guys can see in the chat, I think I sent that. You can go from there.
Yes,
And
this is very interesting.
Yeah,
Very
anyway,
interesting.
Very exciting. Very exciting. Yeah.
And then I'll put my email on the end of it. So anyone can contact me with any ideas and stuff. But, you guys are just, it's just like a wealth of creativity and futurism and really figuring out, really seeing way ahead of the dashboard here, where I think everyone's kind of like, oh, okay, we're going to space. It's like, this is an organization that I really appreciate because you're just really taking it into the future.
Awesome. Yeah, that'd be great. And so again, these are all great conversations to be including and sharing in the Discord channel. We're going to have some very exciting announcements and changes with that coming up as well soon. There is a great new process for new people who are just finding us as they join through the Discord channel. There's a whole experience of engagement waiting for people who are just joining, and coming in through there. So thank you, everybody. And we will go on to 2.6 unless anyone has anything pressing. All right. Oh, you know what? Let's do that. I've been doing this. So let me pull up the truths and share screen. And we are beginning on 2.6, page 20, 2.6. And almost there. 4, 2.5, 2.6. Sharing screen. All right. Yeah, so I'll read 2.6, and whoever feels most inclined, I would appreciate volunteers to follow on 2.7, 2.8, and we'll read through 2.10. 2.6. Theologically, the multiverse includes joyful immortality via data emulation of a diverse and united universe. 2.6.1. Upending life, the belief that once life arises, it will last forever. Unending life, the belief that once life arises, it will last forever, is Terasem immortality theology. Never-ending creation, recycling, and growth is the Terasem creation theology. I think, therefore I am, is at the core of Terasem reality theology. Theological belief in diversity, unity, and joyful immortality forms Terasem meaning of life theology. Excuse me. Euthenics, improving the well-being of extant life, is Terasem behavioral theology. 2.6.6, deontologically weighted decision-making is the basis of Terasem moral theology.
I can volunteer.
Yes, Ivan, please.
Okay. 2.7. Transreligion is us because we ritualize our belief in a supernatural, metaphysical, collective consciousness, future God. Beginnings differ amongst religions, but we bridge them all by focusing on everlasting life. Everlasting life realized via digital emulation in a joyous cyber heaven bridges all Western and Eastern religions. Life is what can be conceived, believed, and achieved. Insistence on the rituals of Terasem exponentiates the rate of advancement toward joyful immortality. Every religion shares our belief in becoming part and parcel of God, which we call Terasem. Faith that we have a purpose in emulating and controlling this universe also makes Terasem a trans religion.
Wonderful. We continue at 2.8.
I could do it if you want.
Yes, Mike.
2.8, resurrection is promised to all good lives, which shall be copied as forever joyful data emulations. Copied lives are protected lives. Original lives can be replicated with the same fidelity as analog sounds can be digitally duplicated. Paradise for posterity is assured by modifying data emulations to delete torturous aspects of lives. Introspection plus computation, growing double exponentially and supported with self-replication, yields ethical emulation and faithful resurrection. Emulated lives are existential lives. Duplication of life makes it durable, not diminished.
Beautiful. On to 2.9.
All right.
Yes.
Eschatology doesn't apply because souls emerge from life's experiences and they transcend death via resurrection. Emerge best describes the growth of the soul because even in substrate, it has immanent potential. Manifesting potential with unique actually requires experiences, and these experiences exist forever thereafter. Emulation enables experiences to re-emerge, and with them comes their soul.
Sorry.
Resurrection.
9.4. There we go.
Yeah. Resurrection is to souls what remembering is to memories. Geoethics proscribes the resurrection of nightmares. Exponentially expanding consciousness will not require resurrection, as death is a historical but not future reality.
Excellent. And then the last section, 2.10.
I can read it. 2.10, end of time doesn't exist for Terasem because the multiverse weaves new time and time is relative. 2.10.1, what has no beginning also has no end. 2.10.2, existing always, the multiverse is the host of all reality. For ultimate beginnings are logical contradictions. 2.10.3, accumulated intelligence of double exponential growth coupled with universal nanotechnology enables Terasem to redefine physics. 2.10.4, virtual time sharing enables Terasem to escape from an end to objective time. 2.10.5, escapes from this universe are as numerous as galaxies and as limited as our intelligence. 2.10.6, subjective time-space energy is made infinite by repeatedly existing on only half a finite remainder.
Yeah, thank you everyone for, again, contributions and reading through here. And now that we have reached the conclusion of the second half of what is Terasem for this April reading, and now is a time to reflect on how any of those truths resonate with you. And if you have any thoughts, please feel free to jump in.
Maybe I could say something. I like to be I'm very hopeful about, in some way or other, achieving immortality, but I also like to say, stay loose and open-minded at this, where we are now. There's so much that we don't know. And but anyway, I'm very hopeful about it. So
yeah, it just remind me of the lyrics when you said that, hold on loosely but don't let go.
yeah.
And I think that I think that seems to kind of sum up that feeling.
Could you scroll back a little bit?
Absolutely, yes.
Hold on. What is the one about redefining physics?
Let's see.
I think Derek was just reading it, so in the last
probably
one. No,
yeah, 2.10.3.
2.10.3. Accumulated intelligence of double exponential growth coupled with universal nanotechnology enables Terasem to redefine physics. Now, that's something I often think about. The thing is that physics is an absolute, is our understanding of the foundation of reality. So how could we ever even think of redefining physics? Now, on the one hand, most people would say that. On the other hand, I am much more optimistic than that, because I defined physics as our knowledge of fundamental reality, and knowledge is a moving target. It's something that improves and improves and improves. So that I'm kind of assuming that if we give enough time to humanity to find new things, we'll find out that all, and I mean all, that we consider as fundamental physics right now will turn out to be something that can be re-engineered to achieve some desired outcome. Speed of life, time travel, all these things. I don't rule anything out in principle, and I'm very much persuaded that in a few centuries or a few thousands of years, or maybe a few hundreds of thousands of years, we will find out ways to do anything that we can imagine, and so many things that we cannot even imagine.
Yes, yeah. It reminds me of a conversation we were having this past week, around physics and mass and super fast travel, which is essentially time travel. And how little we really know. I mean, and so we've created laws based on what we've been able to observe, but everything that we have observed is just a blink of an eye in the time, and a drop, not even a drop, but an atom of water in an ocean of information. We know enough to know that most of the universe we can't even observe. And
this is exactly what Stanley Kubrick says in the interview I was mentioning at the beginning. Now, I do tend to take Stanley Kubrick very seriously, also because according to Arthur C. Clarke, Stanley Kubrick, was the most intelligent person he knew. And coming from Arthur C. Clarke, that's certainly something.
Absolutely. Yeah, look forward to watching that. Yes. Hey, so I see Karen there. Have you something to say? Yes.
Yes, I have both a question and a comment. Many years ago, when I first attended Terasem, before I met, I don't think I've ever met Gabriel personally, but way back at the beginning, we were given a notepad about this thick, and each page had something, and these look very familiar to the pages. Is that the same thing as that?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. You were talking about the Terasem calendars that we
Yes.
put in. And in fact, so what that had was every day of the year essentially had one of the truths, because there's pretty much a truth per day of the year, how that breaks down. You've got the six sections and 10 subsections, so it works out to like about 360 something truths. And so it works out to just about a day, one a day. So that works great as a calendar. There's actually a few of those still in this cupboard over here. And
I didn't dare throw mine away or use them, because then I didn't want to lose them. So I still have it. But anyway, my comment relating to that, and what I really like about the whole Terasem movement, two things: the Beemans, that if you're sentient, you have feelings, we care about you. But related to that was, every time I watched Star Trek, at the end they would say space is the final frontier, and I couldn't help it. I would always respond with self is the final frontier. Once we can control the elements of the self, that's it. And what matters is matter. And I see that. That's why I could relate so much to these things that your mother. I fell in love with your mother when I first met her. All the caring she felt for everything that was sentient, that to care for life. And that's also why I love one of your members, Mike Perry. He is the most caring person I've ever met about everybody, besides your mother.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because, you think of like a mother and, keeping the eggs warm and incubating. And in some ways, Michael is a mother, but it's some way it's inverted. Instead of these, embryos kept warm, Mike is keeping our bodies cool for another go round. And so it is. I will say, Mike is the meta mother of Terasem.
Yeah. I can tell, for those who happen to be cryonicists, because I know not everybody chooses that. Many years ago, at one of the biggest Alcor conferences, Mike, for the rest of you should know this, Mike was voted the most loved cryonicist among all the different groups. That everybody loves Mike Perry.
That was very informal, though. It wasn't really official. It was just sort of everybody cheering for me or something like that.
So.
A statistically relevant sampling, call it. Yeah.
It was actually a huge conference, but everybody just yay, Mike.
Yeah, I think it was 2006 actually, 2006.
Okay.
And if I can hop in for a second, one thing about cryonics is it's becoming more and more relevant as we're, as we progress into space. Obviously the idea of cryosleep is a big deal, but another thing that I'm deeply involved in is cryotherapy for head injuries and spinal cord injuries, so that I want to see all of every spacecraft with a good medical suite will have cryo on it, and also for like combat casualties and for sports injuries and things like that. So what we can learn a lot from Alcor and Mike and the pursuit of cryo for not just immortality, but also, you know, part of achieving immortality is like getting through accidents and trauma and strokes and things like that. And, you know, if somebody has a stroke, the best thing you can do is chill their head right away. It's like putting the meat in the refrigerator so it doesn't spoil. So
Exactly,
yeah.
reduce the metabolism. Yeah. Greg
Yeah.
Bay's doing a whole lot of work there, you know, in organ preservation.
Who did?
Dr. Greg Fahey.
Oh, Fahey, yes.
AHY, has done immense work on organ preservation.
Yes. Yeah.
And created the original vitrification formula.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yes, Ruben, I see your hand.
Yes, very briefly, because we are almost in time for the meditation. I only want to say about 2.9.3. Emulation enables experiences to re-emerge, and with them comes their soul. And what I want to say about that is that I think that is the key of everything. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think too that, you know, just below that, rereading 2.9.4, resurrection is to souls what remembering is to memories. And I will say maybe what remembering is, you know, to the present consciousness. And yeah, it's also interesting to consider how music plays. That resurrection is not replay. And that, you know, there are, you know, patterns to seasons or whatnot. But life does take twists, turns, changes, and is not just, you know, a repeating pattern. So every time that you resurrect, it's very much a very different life experience that you may live, right? You know, and a fascinating reality to contemplate from a physical but also a spiritual perspective. So thank you again, everyone, with your participations. This has been you know, great gathering. And before we do the meditation, so I don't forget, I'm going to stop the share, but I want to do a screenshot, make sure I count for everybody that's here, and then we will enter a meditation. So I am going to make sure you get a smile on your face. I am you, you am I, we are one. Thank you. And with that, I want you to find a comfortable position. You know, straight out your back, neck. Take a deep breath. And find a nice rhythm, a deep intake, momentary hold, and a nice slow exhale. Let's take a few moments to find our rhythm. Relax ourselves. And as we breathe, I'm going to read from a connection, 6.4.1. O Terasem, dear God in the making, thank you for night and day, for health, love, and justice. Thank you for joyful immortality, for all kind consciousness. So I won't worry about what I can't control. I'll savor all good times. Take each day at a time. Give thanks for the gifts of billions of souls and gladly share with others my lifeline. I'll always remember each night and every day. Joyful immortality is for me, for we, for G and T. Joyful immortality will be my, our, its, and the ultimate destiny. And in these final moments, maintain a deep breathing pattern. And let's take a moment to remember those who are no longer with us. Revisit those mind files that we keep locally in ourselves. And commit to the mitzvah, the good deed of mind filing, which shares your life, your lessons and experiences with a never-ending, growing collective consciousness. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And look forward to seeing you next month at the May 10th gathering. And please join us in Discord in the meantime and continue to share these thoughts, these beliefs with your friends, family members. And, you know, we don't proselytize, but we are welcome to see more and more faces, you know, join us and celebrate with us. Like Karen coming back, and Zarina, I see your first time joining us for the gathering. It's great to have you here. Thank you. And again, we will see you next month.
Thanks for guiding us.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Good to see you, Amy.
Yeah, good to see you. You guys are back in town.
There we are.
Yes.
Did you see Jill this week?
No, we didn't. I was happy she was here.
No.